Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 11 of the Leetcode Daily Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord, and join me in solving this problem. Let me know what your questions are and all that stuff. Okay, today's problem is merge sorted array. So I do these and explanations and stuff like that all live, so it's a little bit slow. Just watch it on 1.5x or something like that. Yeah, okay. So for this one, okay, so there are two sorted arrays and you want to merge them. So the standard way of doing, and I think people should do practice divide and conquer and merge sort and stuff like that in general. And in that case, you probably have an idea of how to solve this. The tricky thing in this one is that it seems like you have to manipulate one of the inputs. So you have to manipulate nums1 in place. And then you have extra zeros or something like that in the back. I think that should be okay. I think the thing that we can take advantage of is that it's still sorted, and I think it just requires a little bit of thinking backwards, or in this case, in reverse, where instead of throwing out the beginning, we can just throw out the from largest to smallest. I think that should work. And the thing that the thing that I would maybe worry about, or at least think about a little bit, is that, and let me just copy and paste this for visualization. What I would worry about is that, given these two arrays, well, there are two cases, right? One is that if all these numbers are bigger, then what happens? Well, that would just fill all the way in the end, so I think that's okay. And then the other case is, do you ever worry about, overwriting the existing array elements? And the answer is, I think I have a second of thinking about it, but I think there is an invariant where that cannot be true, because if we're trying to looking to fill this index, that means that at the worst case, all these are filled by other numbers from the other array, and as we talked about, we have enough space for them, so it should not overwrite. So I think using that alone, we can do this merge step in linear time. And I think I'm going to do that in place. And again, I would also say that usually I don't like in place algorithms, or in very special cases maybe you do, but in place algorithms don't really make sense a lot of the times, especially with respect to debugging and stuff like that. So I'm not a fan of it. But for this problem, I could maybe see how that could come into play, especially with respect to optimization stuff, but very rarely in general. So okay, with all that being said, okay, we have an M already, we have an N already. I like to make them uppercase just so that, I don't know, it's a little bit clearer that, for me, this is just me. And then the next thing is just having pointers to, yeah, so that's up a, I don't know, let's call pointer 1 and pointer 2. And I will start them as at the end, as we said, so m minus 1, n minus 1, and then we can basically for current index in range sub I guess m plus n, and here well, this isn't a current index. What we actually want to do is start at the end. So let's go to negative. I don't like this syntax. This is one of the few things that I actually get annoyed about in Python, is that I don't like the for loops in Python, because they're really just for each loops instead of real for loops. So then you have all these awkward inclusive exclusive questions and decrement things, when I could just, I like pure for loops because in other languages, because it's more direct how, what I mean with respect to like in some cases for loops, because of the conditional in the middle, now in some cases it makes sense to make it inclusive, and in some cases it makes sense to make the bounds exclusive. But anyway, that's a little bit of a rant. So we start that current index, and then now we just do the merge step of okay, if nums sub 2 of pointer 2 is greater than num sub 1 of pointer 2, or pointer 1, whoops, sorry, Then now we set the current index, num sub 1 of current index, oops, is equal to the bigger number. So let's do num sub 2, and then we do pointer minus, and then else num sub 2, oops, num sub 1 current index is equal to num sub 1 pointer 1, also pointer 1 decrement. And then the other conditional is, of course, that if pointer 2 is greater than 0 and this thing happens. I think there's one more case where so is this or pointer 1 is less than 0, because in that case you always want this to be going, right? So yeah, and then that's pretty much it. Oh, we don't even have to return, we just have to modify it in place. I think this should be it. Let's give it a go. I mean this should, I'm confident that this will work. The only thing that may be an issue is I have an off by 1 somewhere because I'm silly, which happens from time to time. But with respect to off by 1s, in this case I know exactly where they would be. There are only a few places where it could be, so that's why I'm not worried. But I would say if you do want to off by 1s often, definitely check your bounds or check how you define everything. But yeah, this seems to be okay. I probably could test a little bit more, but let's just submit it. I do recommend testing more in general, but you know, I'm trying to keep the stream short. Looks good, accept it. Yeah, and what's the complexity of this? As we talked about, it's in place, so you could say it's all one extra space, and obviously this is just a for loop going from m plus n, so it's going to be linear time, where linear is m plus n. Yeah, that's all I have for this problem. I think the big trick, if you want to call it that, is just being able to look at it backwards and try to you know, and the other part, especially for an interview, is explaining the invariance of the problem, which I kind of went over a little beginning with respect to how the concerns about overwriting values and stuff like that. But yeah, but the constraints are make it so that this will always be good. So this should be good, and this was good. But yeah, here's kind of like, you know, the code that you could freeze frame on or whatever, and I will but that's all I have. Don't really have much more, so I will see y'all later. See you tomorrow, and have a great night. Bye bye.